In spite of all knowledge, science, mathematics, geometry, geography, history, and countless types of knowledge, all that is just segmented knowledge, like the blind men studying the elephant. None of them have open eyes. But once you have attained enlightenment, now you have communion with God, an intuitional revelation that you are always divine. Not just divine, God alone is the reality. Om Vasudev Sudam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadgurum. Om. This is the fifth chapter, known as Karma Sanyasa Yoga, and the verse number 25th. Insight is being given into the highest goal. What are you striving for? And what is your ultimate goal? Labhante Brahma Nirvana Rishaya Kina Kalmasha Chinnadvaidhaya Tatmana Sarvabhuti Te Rata. Sages who have destroyed all their sins, who have no doubts, who are self-controlled and devoted to the welfare of all beings, and they attain nirvana in the form of Brahman. Now follow these points. These are all profound statements. Shina Kalmasha. Kalmash relates to Kleshas, afflictions. Afflictions will pollute your mind. And it is mind dominated by afflictions that's the cause of the soul constantly moving from embodiment to embodiment, experiencing this vast world process. And let me reiterate those points. Kleshas are five. Avidya, ignorance. If you are spiritually sensitive, you do not stay relaxed with ignorance. You continue to explore and to discover all your potential. But the mind that is not interested in knowledge, that mind is devoted to ignorance. And that's the root cause of all kleshas, all afflictions, the love of ignorance. In breaking that love of ignorance, that's a big challenge for everyone, every human being. And there is general instinct to do that. Human beings are constantly striving to expand the horizon of their knowledge, science and many other aspects of knowledge. But the profounder knowledge is intuitional knowledge. What will happen if your intellect were to become intuitional? If your intellect remains limited, that intellect is not the real attainment. That intellect will continue to give you knowledge that keeps the soul wandering from one embodiment to another. And you need to understand that when intellect is freed of the grip of ego, it becomes intuitional. Again, the term intuition, people use it very in an ordinary sense. But here in this context, we are using it in a profound way. If you have intuitional intellect, that means you have a revelation. I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am the absolute. I am that. Know ye not ye are gods. That's again just a figurative statement. You are made in the image of God. All religions speak of the same truth. So ignorance is to be cut down. And whenever you come to satsang, you are striking at the feet of the ignorance. In the beginning, you cut their toenails. But gradually you get cut down. The next point, asmita, ego. Ego comes in three categories: tamasic ego, rajasic ego, sattvic ego. Tamasic ego that holds on to foolish ideas, narrow-minded concepts. You develop misunderstanding on a wrong basis and want to hold on to it. That's the most degrading type of ego. And that has been the cause of all the troubles. And it's not in recent times, it has been always. As long as the creation is, there is always three types of ego: tamasic ego, rajasic ego, sattvic ego. And all these three are not elsewhere, they are all within you. You have the possibility to highlight your tamasic ego. If you go on associating yourself with people who are narrow-minded, who are drunkard, drug addicted, and things of that nature, then you are nourishing your tamasic ego. Rajasic ego is that keeps your mind distracted. Rajasic ego is not so bad, but it can give you two possibilities. Through Rajasic ego, you can move to higher level. If you utilize your energy in a positive way. But if you use your energy in a negative way, then Rajasic ego joins with the Tamasic ego. These two come under Rakshasas, demons. They are asuras. They keep you out of tune. I have explained the point. Sura and asura. Sura is to keep you in tune with divine music within yourself. The music of eternity within everyone's heart. And if your ego is sattvic, then you are in tune with the divine music. The allegorical way of giving to you. But when tamas enters, you are out of tune. Sattvic ego is transparent. Sattvic ego doesn't obstruct the view of God within you. So whenever we speak of controlling the ego or overcoming the ego, we are referring to Rajasic, Tamasic aspect. So I was talking about the 5 Kleshas. Overcoming ignorance, that's first point. Next point, overcoming ego. Allowing the ego to become sattvic. Third point, raga, attachment. Your raga also has three types. You get attached to things that elevate you. That attachment is called satsanga. And that's commendable. But major aspect of one's attachment is rajasic or tamasic. And that type of attachment is delusional, selfish, narrow-minded. And that in a spiritual movement, you go on working in a way that you turn that raga into vairagya. Move away from that attachment and move towards positive satsanga, good association. Next point, dvesha. Dvesha is hatred. Likes and dislikes. The mind always swings. For majority of people, when the swing stops, they feel bored. But for sattvic people, it is that's the most cherished moment you wait for, when the mind is calm, relaxed. And that you need to promote that experience day by day, going beyond raga and dvesha. Through practice of integral yoga, you gradually reduce. And the fifth klesha is abhinivesh klesha, fear of death, a sense of identity with your body. And that seems to be one's reality. Any idea of losing the body is frightening. But again, that's deh dhare ka dand hai. If you have entered your physical body, you have to quit it one day. It's illegal to have an entry to anything that doesn't belong to you. Yeah, I'm making a joke out. So these 5 kleshas, they constantly envenom your mind. And spiritual movement is to purify your mind, free your mind. And when you practice integral yoga in your daily life, all the 4 yogas in balance, which I have explained to you, action, emotion, will, and reason, doing your action in a way that purifies the heart, developing your feeling in a way that puts you in union with God, arouse your love to be directed to God, bhakti yoga. Jnana yoga, allowing your mind to experience stillness and developing your profound willpower. Jnana yoga, developing your intellect in a way that is spiritually purified and becomes intuitional. All these 4 are operating in every individual. But when you are well guided and get deeply interested in a spiritual movement, then you begin to understand and you begin to involve yourself in the practice of integral yoga, which implies your daily life becomes a life of a rhythmic plan. There's a time to wake, there's a time to meditate, there's a time to do yoga exercises. There's a time to become involved with your day-to-day duties. There's a time to do some generous activity. And all you plan out in a way that no matter how your situation and circumstances are, you continue to live your life day by. Just like no matter how your situation, circumstances are, every day you eat. With pickle or without pickle. In the same way, every day these 4 points must touch your personality. Then every day is enriching. Otherwise, days pass by empty, nothing. The mind has simply developed a sense of boredom. The real art of life is flow in the stream of integral yoga plan. And if you do that, then everything is enriching to you. Adversity enriches you in one way, it gives you willpower. It enables you to discover workings of divine faith, power of grace. Prosperity helps you in another way, encourages you, inspires you to be more generous, to be more humble, and so forth. Life lived with the purpose of being Kshina Kalmasha, removing these Kleshas, allowing the mind to become clear, pure. Chinna Dvaidha, another point has been used. Dvaidha is doubts. Mind that is always kept in a state of indecisive way. It's just like you are trying to cross a river and there are 2 boats there. And you can't make up your mind whether you should put your foot in this boat or that. And we stay quiet, doing nothing. That's the tamas. Now you come to another level. You want to cross the river, but you don't want to lose the opportunity of the other boat. 2 boats are there, each has its own distinctive advantage. So you want to put one foot in this one foot in the other. That's a Rajasic movement. Sattvic movement, your mind is focused on the goal. And therefore you enter into the boat. Even if the boat has defects, make yourself more comfortable, more prepared, and you will cross the river. Dvaidha state of mind is that state where you are indecisive. Always 2 ideas enter your mind. Half of the day you follow one idea, half of the day the other idea. And both are not in harmony. But if you are moving towards enlightenment, you do not allow your mind to have that state. You develop a one-pointed movement. Ekahi sadhe sabsadhe. If you have one-pointed movement, then everything else will be in right place. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven. All else shall be added unto you. Yatatmana, another word. Mind and senses are under control. That I have explained to you before. Human personality is like a chariot. old style chariot driven by horses. Your senses are the horses. Mind is the reins, the ropes by which you pull the horse. Intellect is the chariot driver. Your intellect should not be drunk. You shouldn't be texting and driving. Chariot must be in order. Horses should not take over the chariot. The ropes that control the horses should be proper. Chariot driver shouldn't be drunk, etc. In other words, if senses, mind, intellect, all are in order, then your personality moves like a chariot and your soul feels like a king. Also, your soul begins to discover that the soul is like Arjuna, Krishna's Krishna's great friend, and God is within you. And God is constantly guiding you, whispering, leading you to face all the challenges. Sarvabhuti ite rata. Another great point, the most important point, your movement to enlightenment is not just your gain. Being enlightened is just like blossoming. When you blossom, the flower doesn't blossom for its own selfish gain. The fragrance goes all over. It's allegorical way I'm saying, but the idea to understand that if you move Godward, you are lifting up countless people around you, knowingly or unknowingly. Even a small measure of goodness, if you practice, just practice to possess a mind that is relaxed, a mind that is generous, compassionate. If you have that type of disposition, you come into a family with large gatherings of people, and they all feel a presence that is uplifting. On the other hand, if you have put your mind to a miserable way of thinking, the world is all getting to be struck down by some Ebola type of thing. If your mind is gripped by sorrow, stress, then even though you are not doing anything, your presence is creating a kind of a discouraging effect, an effect of reducing the joy and inspiration of others. The term is used, loka sangraha. Lokasya unmarg pravritti nivaranam. Unmarg pravritti nivaranam. Unmarg pravritti means the general tendency of the masses to go downwards. That tendency is contradicted by the presence of those who are advancing towards enlightenment. If you are moving to attain enlightenment, your presence will create inspiration. People around you will not be drawn to negative things, all the impurities, anger, greed, hate. Therefore, the resolution to the problems of the world lies in enabling people to move towards enlightenment. Even though only few people succeed, even if there were just 2 or 3 enlightened people at a time, the whole world will have its impact. That I'm just giving you just details. That doesn't mean that everyone needs to strive to discover his essential nature. Everyone is potential Buddha, Christ, Rama, Krishna. The essential nature in everyone is I am, that am I. An enlightened person has 3 great characteristics. Jnana Parakastha. Knowledge rises to its climax. Because intuitional knowledge is not fragmented knowledge. I have explained that through parables. Blind men are given the project of studying an elephant. And when they put their hand on the elephant, they bring out different views of the elephant. One touching the trunk says elephant is like a snake. Another putting the ear is winnowing fan. Another touching the body, elephant is a wall. Touching the legs, elephant is pillar. And the leader, blind man, writes according to his way of writing. He writes down elephant is a combination of all those things. That's called intellectual knowledge. Intuitional knowledge, simply open your eyes, there is the elephant. That's a big difference. In spite of all knowledge, science, mathematics, geometry, geography, history, and countless types of knowledge, all that is just segmented knowledge, like the blind men studying the elephant. None of them have open eyes. But once you have attained enlightenment, now you have communion with God, an intuitional revelation that you are always divine. Not just divine, God alone is the reality. That's called Jnana Parakastha. Wisdom rises to its height. Second point is Bhakti Parakastha. Devotion rises to its height. Devotion is love. Every person is eager to love and to be loved. And that never concludes. The world cannot fulfill these 2 urges within the human heart. To love, whom to love? All loving relations are conditioned by time. Even though there may be great harmony with people, but then you are subject to your karmas, you are subject to age, disease, death. So ultimately, your love is not fulfilled. And if you think of many lives, you have loved on so many relatives and friends, and there has been no end. And your thirst for love continues. Likewise, the thirst to be loved continues. In God, it becomes absolutely fulfilled. Like a river enters the ocean, it has attained fulfillment. And that type of experience, God is the embodiment of absolute love. That's called Bhakti Parakastha. And the third great characteristic is Aham Shunyata. Ego awareness in you. I'm an individual being. That ego awareness stays in you only as a little reflection. You are not bonded with your ego. Even when you go to sleep, you put your ego aside. About 70% of your life, or even more, is spent in sleeping. And during that time, you are not with your ego. And do not find it anything amazing about it. Therefore, your real goal is to be completely stripped of ego. Ego-based life is bringing you world of multiplicity, world like a dream. Ego-based experience is three types, just like in your dream. Subject, there is a dream subject. There is a dream world, and your experiences of pleasure and pain. All the three are absolutely fictitious, false. And yet, the dream continues. And a dream subject goes on working for better situation. There is always a plan. There is always a past. There is always future dreams. But the real experience of yours is when you go to deep sleep, the dream moves away. And then you have a little replica of being free of pride, free of those three illusions. In sleep, you are led to be absolutely beyond time, beyond space, beyond causation. And it goes on giving you the message. That's your goal. That's your reality. That's the world in reality, in essence. When you go to bed, you are alone with your bed. Going to dream, you are gone, in spite of the fact that your bedroom is the only reality there. You have gone into a big world. Until you wake up to realize all that was false. It's just an allegorical way to try to understand. Same way, through your mind, you are experiencing the world of vast time, vast space, a world of unimaginable historical stories, unimaginable depth of space, this entire world. But then, go to samadhi, step beyond your ego. All this that you are experiencing is a distortion of your consciousness, an illusory modification of your consciousness. Your consciousness is the rope. Modification is the snake. Snake on the rope. That's called. Remember these 3 points: Jnana Parakastha, climax of knowledge, intuitional knowledge; Bhakti Parakastha, climax of love; Aham Shunyata, void of ego. And once ego is out, the world of time, space, causation, all is out. The absolute non-duality. Kam krodhi yuktanam yatinam yata chetasam abhito brahma nirvanam vartate viditatmanam. He who has no desire or anger, whose mind is under his control, and who has realized the self, he has attained liberation even here, not to mention hereafter. Kam krodh yuktanam, one who has conquered kama, desire, krodha, anger. Remember, again and again the scriptures point out 3 gates to hell: kama, krodha, and lobha. Kama is desire, perverted desires. Krodha, when those desires can't be fulfilled, anger surges in your mind. Desire and anger, if they begin to rule your mind, you begin to lose the strength of your faith. Your faith begins to become stone-like. And that becomes the basis. Calm, krodha, lobha. And then there are many, many other ramifications of malas. Mada, pride; matsarya, jealousy; asuya, constantly looking into the defects of others. So many negative qualities, vices develop. And if they develop, that means you have been led to hell. Hell, you don't have to think of somewhere else. In the same setting, in the same house, one may be enjoying heaven, another goes enjoy hell. Not enjoy, suffer. All depending upon the state of mind. If calm, krodh, lobha, etc., these impurities are not worked upon, the energy that goes towards them, if it is not channelized, then you are paving for hell. If you channelize that energy and sublimate them, anger sublimated becomes love. The quality of forbearance, forgiveness, compassion, all these emerge if you sublimate anger, violence. In a case of one who is enlightened, all these impurities have been sublimated. And mind has come under complete control. Consider mind like a cloud. If cloud is opaque, the shining sun behind the cloud becomes obscure. You don't see the sun. That's the state of experience in a person whose mind is filled with tamas. As you do sadhana, the opacity of the cloud reduces. If sattva increases, the cloud is filled with light. That type of mind is possessed by sages, those who have attained enlightenment. Again, movement to enlightenment is progressive. You may not expect yourself to be at the top, but if you are moving towards and you are secure in it, as if you are on the top, because you have no other way to go. As long as you have a choice, you have not reached the goal of your life. But when you have no choice but to attain enlightenment, then you have resolved your problem. You are in the hands of God. Abhito Brahma Nirvanam. Two words are used. First state of experience, all this is Brahman. That's what. As your mind has become like a cloud, shining, cloud that is not obscuring, but allowing the light to flow. Then your experience, as you look at the world is expressions of light. Siya Ram Mai Sab Jag Jani. There's Rama and Sita everywhere. Brahman is the reality behind all that exists. God is the permeating presence. That becomes your practical reality. The world is filled with God. Your mind is no longer working with where can I go, where I can find God. The next point, the world is no more, it's not there. The cloud that was dazzling with light, the cloud has faded away. Sun shines on. So that shining sun, rid of cloud, is Nirvana. The sun flowing through the cloud without losing its splendor. That's Brahman. Brahman Nirvana. And with this I will conclude. Om Shanti. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.